Hey everyone, Steve here from PC Budget Solutions, and we have another RGB build log today. So I've made a couple computers in the past, some of them I've shown, some I haven't, and it seems to be everybody's interested in the RGB. The problem is not all RGB is created equally. There's addressable RGB, there's 12 volt RGB, some require remote control, some will work with software, and you don't always know what you need. The problem is a lot of the fans that you work with nowadays, like you may see already, the up here fans work okay, but the quiet editions don't move a lot of air, are not really good with static pressure, things like that. Luckily the system I put it in was a pretty entry mid-level system, so it worked perfectly fine, but you're not going to be doing any kind of overclocking. So today we have about $1,000, right around to $900,000 RGB gaming build. We're going to go over all the components here shortly, and then we're going to go ahead and get everything put together. So first on the list, we have the PC Cooler Corona 3-pack addressable RGB fans. We have the Ryzen 5 2600X. We have the Master Liquid Light 120. Also, I believe it uses addressable RGB. And it does work with our motherboard. We have the Corsair CX450M modular. We have the, and you guys will probably already have seen this, the ASRock B450M Pro 4 motherboard, which supports both addressable and 12 volt RGB, 5 volt and 12 volt respectively. And you should have already seen this, the EVGA GTX 1660, the little short triple slot fat guy over here. So you guys will be seeing a review on that as well when it comes to performance results. So let's go ahead and get everything put together. Oh, two quick things. We have RGB memory, and we also have a 1 terabyte SSD. So I did briefly forget about those. My apologies here. So let's go ahead and get the CPU in here. So we're going to install it just like any other CPU. And now as first we're going to look at the gold triangle here. So on AMD they have gold triangles on one of the corners here, just like such. And there will be, we're going to lift this retention bracket, a gold triangle generally on this corner when it comes to AMD. Now all we have to do is line it up, and it actually literally just fell in. No pressure should really be required. Normally I'd remove these two, but we're actually going to be using a Master Liquid Light 120, which I believe uses mounting mechanism, so we're going to leave that go. Next, let's go ahead and get our memory installed. Now pretty much for any AMD board that I've looked at in the last probably couple years, you always want to populate slots 2 and 4, then 1 and 3 is generally preferred. You can do 1 and 3, but honestly it just doesn't make sense not to do 2 and 4, because especially if you're running a beefier CPU cooler, slot 1 oftentimes is covered. So this is GEL memory, G-E-I-L. It is 3000 megahertz, and it even says, actually before I install it, Ryzen certified, which is pretty cool. Hopefully it works with this RGB, wrong way, the RGB software that ASRock works with. I honestly like ASRock software. It's worked perfectly fine for me. So, and when you got to put in especially taller ones, you'll want to get a grip under the board, and then go both in, just like that. Okay, so I made the same mistake as last time. You need these silver screws, which are in the bag with the rest of the mounting hardware for actually Intel, believe it or not. So go ahead and line this up here the best we can. There we go. That was a lot easier. Just like that. Perfect. We're going to do the other side here. There we go. plastic a little bit here. Oop. Fell off the end. Okay. I wanted to wait to do that, but we're going to do that now. There we go. Lined up just like that. There we go. Now we're on. So now what we're going to do, we're going to put some thermal paste in the center. Now, the theory's been for the longest time, less is more. However, that theory is disproven. More isn't necessarily better. However, this is what we found out, is if you actually err on the side of less, you can run the thermal issues significantly at a much higher rate than adding a little too much. Steve from Gamers Nexus, for example, did a video where he just caked it on, and the thermal difference was almost very little, like a few degrees. But then if he did too little, that is when we ran into some serious problems. So that's why I always tell people it is a little bit better to err on the side of potentially a little bit too much versus a little bit too little. So what we're actually doing is I'm actually going to mount this with the understanding that this will be facing downwards. That's it there for a second here. There we go. I believe they are both on. Yes, they are. Then we can start spinning these down. And then just do it evenly to imply a fair bit of even pressure. You definitely don't want to try to over tighten it. And then the fan will be sitting like this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spin the fan 90 degrees here, just to be on the safe side here. It looks like yep. So all of the standoffs are actually already lined up with what we need. So let's go ahead and install the I/O shield here. Put the motherboard to the side for a second. Nope. Nope, do not want to go in. So hopefully that holds while we go install the motherboard here. It could have probably survived, but it's better to not put any unneeded flex on it if possible. Now these might require some pliers to go down all the way. That one I'm not happy with, so what I'm going to have to do is actually have a tool for this. There we go. A lot of cases come with it, this one did not, so just note you might have to use some pliers, or if you have something round that goes over it, that'll work fine too. Okay, now we can go ahead and put the motherboard back in. Except we definitely need to do it the right way. Cut! I know, right? There we go. We'll put the CPU cooler there. And now in this case, because there's no knockout pin, it's very important that you really just start these screws. Just a few small quick turns, because what will happen is the motherboard will start to shift as you do that, and you don't want it to shift so far that you cannot get a screw in there. And it's also a very good idea to kind of doing a cross pattern. So you start at the middle, and then you, like see that one requires me to push it over a little bit, which is fine. But you want to do it in a cross pattern. As I said, you definitely don't want to start tying these all the way down. There we go. I'll go to, let's go down here. Let's go up top. And we'll have one more to put in. That top one's going to be a little bit of a pain, so I'm probably going to do that one first. Well, actually, you always do the last one you do first. There we go. Perfect. And you'll also want to tighten as much in a cross pattern as possible. Oh, this one wasn't started. Shoot. There we go. Good there. Good there. Good there. And I believe this is the last one. Nope. We have one more over here. Perfect. Now, I'm actually going to install the power supply next, and I'll explain why. So, once I get the CPU cooler in, the power supply will be, the 8-pin will be relatively difficult to get in. So, I want to make sure that we can get this to reach. So, this would, I believe, come with screws? Yes. Now, I've actually tested everything outside of the case already. So in the previous video, you saw me do some mounting and everything. So I actually finished it for the most part, went ahead and tested, did some actually benchmarking and all sorts of fun stuff. So we know it works. And that's an important aspect a lot of first-time builders overlook, and that is testing outside the case. Now, I'll be the first one to admit, I don't follow that one very closely, but in this case, I got the case pretty late, and I figured, well, I want to get some benchmarking done now. It wasn't thermal based, so as long as the system ran within spec, it didn't really matter, and it did. So, and I have no expectations that the results will be any different if we would have done it in the case, because this is set up to be pretty well ventilated. So okay, so all I want to get going right now is the 8-pin, because that will be much more difficult to do later on. Okay. There we go. That's all I want to do there. Now comes the fun one. And that is the cooler. So let's go ahead and unplug this right now. Let's figure out, we actually probably can route this up here, which was the plan anyhow. And let's see which way feels the best. Ideally, you should actually do the bottom because of the way the pump is. So let's try that as well and see how well the tubes bend. The tubes are actually my biggest concern. I don't want the tubes to have force on them if they don't have to, you know what I mean? See, the other thing is that's going to interfere with the graphics card. So, as much as I want to do it this way, it's gonna sit better this way. So, what we'll do is we'll grab some screws and we'll just keep it as low as possible for now. I just start those hand tight. So I'll kind of show you guys what I'm doing here. So I just grab the hex head screws. Just screw them in. Now I might have to switch the fan orientation. We'll see if everything reaches. It should. Good. Okay. So that part is done. Now this, unfortunately, I don't think will reach if we go around. I will double check. Yeah, no, it doesn't come anywhere close. So what we're gonna do is we're going to, so this is regular RGB. And we're gonna just plug it in. We have 2 screws in as normal. That's all you really need for an SSD. Get it slid in over here. Get the thumb screw in. Let's go ahead and wire this up. Good there. I'll probably, let's go with this one. This is going to be the only iffy part is, can this go in without putting a lot of pressure on the cable? Yeah, it did. Okay. It's a good thing these are flat. And what we're going to want to do is bring everything through this set of cable. Get this, oh, not that. Get this kind of tucked down as much in here as possible. There we go. That should be pretty flat. We're going to want to run, actually, well, let's go ahead and undo that. Let's get this around that one. There we go. Doesn't have to be super tight, but just tight enough. There's that one. And then we'll keep that over there. We'll probably do the bottom one as well, but we'll deal with that in a little bit. Let's go ahead and undo these cables a little bit. Keep these to the side. We're gonna go in, yeah, let's go in up top. That way we have the most amount of room to plug into the 20+4. And this is why it was good that we bolted these 2 in up top, so we're good there. Let's spin around and see what else we can do here. Some of the things we gotta still do are the RGB cables and all that fun stuff. So I'm just gonna untie those and get these untied as well. We're gonna route these around the back. Luckily, of course, hopefully I don't say this too soon, I've worked with these in the past. I use them. They're pretty easy to work with overall. So, actually a hole for all these right here. So we have 2. Perfect. So all those through. Good, good, good. Okay, so we have this done. This just looks like a hot mess. So actually, what we can do probably is go out through the top here, and this is exactly why. There we go. That way that makes the run shorter. Perfect. That's good there. Let's go ahead and do some of the front I/O stuff here. So good there. SATA connector. Wow. Wish I had a shorter one. So we're definitely going to want to tie some of the stuff off as much as possible. Now we want to focus on the fans. So it's weird because it'll go in above the holes and below the holes, but getting it to line up with the holes is difficult. So that's above. Actually, here's a thought. I didn't think about this. So we're gonna need to break some of these out anyway. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna pull off these PCI Express brackets. Good. Good. I'll be able to see better. So you gotta use your head sometimes. So now we'll put the graphics card in. And that's literally a 3 slaughter. I wasn't kidding. Where did that one going first? Literally, I've tossed like 100 screws in the ground and I can't find any of them. Alright, let me go ahead and find the last screw I need and we'll be almost done. So actually, all things considered, not really bad. It's a little bit of a tangled mess, but I have a lot of things tied down. I'm actually going to cut off the loose ends here to a degree just so they don't get caught. But all things considered, it's actually not too bad. I realized it was expected a lot worse. So we're going to set this down. Let's go ahead and get this back on. That was actually a relatively easy fix. I just put the, again, with dropping screws today. It must be that kind of day. Okay. There we go. And then, oh, we have some inside peel as well. Let's do this on camera. My phone. Oh, yes. That was nice. So let's go ahead and get that down a little bit here. We will cross pattern these. Now it does say recessed in, but I'd be very careful about just letting it there, because if there's any angle, it's going to fall right back off. So it has a smoked glass panel here. I like this. I think I'll use it again. Maybe not on every build, but I do like it a fair bit. So what we're going to do now is we're going to fire it up and play with it a little bit. So this is the final product. Quite happy with it. I'm playing around with different colors here. So what was actually interesting, so not all the colors match up with the memory and everything, was when I turned it on, this was the exact same color as the rest. It was this color, which happened to be the color laid off. So you still have to cycle through to get the colors to line up. So there you go. So we got red now. So that's pretty cool. I'm glad it works. Overall, pretty good. But I like it. I like it a lot. I like this case. Very sleek. I like the look. So thank you guys for tuning into this build log. We're going to call this mini RGB status. So there's going to be a lot more RGB coming down the road here. If you want to buy anything in here, everything I put in here I recommend. There's really nothing in this system I would say don't buy. Everything has its place and I recommend it. So if you want to buy anything, link in the description. If you dislike the video, hit the dislike button. If you liked it, hit the like button. Definitely appreciate it. Subscribe. I already talked about buying stuff. So as always, guys, this is Steve from PC Budget Solutions, and I'll see you later on down the road.